anybody's mind.
He's the Gen X porn king. Then, cults on campus. Ever hear a church ask this kind of question?
Did you ever do oral sex?
A Fox Files exclusive undercover investigation takes you inside cults on campus. Who's behind the most anticipated news show on TV? He's not your typical 20-something. Chris Cuomo meets Wonder Boy Seth MacFarlane and all his wacky friends.
Hey man, your clock won't flush.
Don't miss The Family Guy. Transvestites, hookers, drugs, lives shadowed by darkness. Now Fox Files shines the light. What really goes on undercover in the night. From the crossroads of America, New York's Grand Central Station, these are the stories and the people of Fox Files.
Hello, I'm John Scott.
And I'm Catherine Pryor. Welcome to Fox Files.
There's a dangerous subculture in our cities. You're about to see shocking behavior by a small but potentially deadly group of people, many of whom happen to be gay.
Of course, the majority of gays in this country don't behave like this, but this group is harmful to itself and others. Arthel Neville found out what goes on undercover in the night.
This is gay bashing, but it's gay gangbangers who are doing the bashing. These young men are flirting with death. They're in a club to have anonymous sex, sometimes through a hole in a wooden partition. Fox Files undercover cameras take you into the gay underworld. It's a world where some women, like some men, are addicted to sex.
Fake sex. Fake sex, just do it.
Yeah.
And like some men, they often fuel their obsession with drugs and alcohol.
Are you ready, April?
Yeah.
Are you glad?
In the gay underworld, many transvestites are sexual nomads, injecting hormones in a desire to become what they aren't.
Relax. Okay.
So-called street doctors use impure drugs and even household products like crazy glue in these bizarre procedures.
We use crazy glue for everything.
The murder of gay college student Matthew Shepard in Wyoming underscores a bitter truth. Many Americans still don't accept gays.
God hates fags. Why is that so hard for you guys to understand?
Repression, alienation, self-hatred have created a gay underworld full of confusion and bitterness.
Is society at all at fault for making some gay men feel unaccepted?
Absolutely, yes. The repressiveness and the judgmental aspect of mainstream Western society is largely responsible for this. When you repress people, they react with rage.
Georgia Prover is an anthropologist at UCLA. She has studied gang culture and human sexuality. In the streets of LA, our Fox Files cameras caught these self-proclaimed gay gangsters lashing out at anyone who they even think is disrespecting them.
Is this unusual behavior within the gay population?
No, I think what it really shows us is that among gay individuals as well as among straight individuals, there are those people who are angry, acting out. Gay men are no different than straight men. They're aggressive, they're angry, and they might seek this outlet, among others.
You bitch! Get the f*** out!
They lash out at women. They even lash out at other gays.
I didn't hit you up. I know you homies.
Just because I like what I like, that's my sexuality, it doesn't mean I'm gonna back down and act like a total faggot, you know? Just watch out.
This is Angel. He's a gangbanger, and he's also gay.
They call me a faggot, so, you know, I showed them who's a faggot. All three of them got punched.
Angel's aggressiveness isn't just political and emotional. As a gangbanger, Angel will attack anyone who he thinks challenges his gang supremacy.
Let me tell you something.
As a gay man, Angel is even more hostile towards anyone he thinks is questioning his gayness.
So I heard one of them, you know, say, oh, they go, you know, he's a faggot. So, you know, that's when I snapped and I went after him.
But Angel is so volatile, he'll even assault other gays who stand up for themselves.
He's gay. We found out he was claiming my neighborhood, so we ended up beating his ass.
He even goes after a woman simply because she's with a man he desires. Violent gangbanging isn't the only form of extreme behavior in the gay underworld.
There are different reasons why people engage in risky sexual behavior. Some people who are young may feel that they're invulnerable, and that's true of heterosexual men and women as well as gay men.
Dr. Kenneth Mayer is a professor of medicine and chief of infectious disease at Memorial Hospital in Rhode Island. After studying AIDS for 15 years, he's concerned about basic aspects of human behavior.
We know that smoking causes cancer. We haven't eradicated cigarette smoking. We know that some individuals may numb themselves with drugs so that they do things that they might not otherwise do when they're sober.
In the gay underworld, drugs and sex go hand in hand. Last week in this club, our cameras caught methamphetamine being given away so patrons could have more sex for longer periods.
Drug use has always been a problem in the gay community, just as it has always been a problem in every other corner of this society.
Duncan Osborne is senior editor of Lesbian and Gay New York, a bi-weekly newspaper.
The problem that we have is that when you have men using drugs, those same men are, according to some studies, as much as 7 times more likely to also have unsafe sex. So when you put together drugs, unsafe sex, and HIV, you've got a prescription for a far more serious problem.
Duncan says he's been criticized for reporting the high levels of drug use and unsafe sex that occurs at some of the so-called circuit parties. These fundraisers have raised millions to fight AIDS. For 16 years, the Morning Party was a major fundraising event on Fire Island, sponsored by the gay men's health crisis. Now it's a public relations nightmare. Last month, it was permanently canceled after dozens of drug arrests, severe overdoses, and at least 1 death.
There was a contradiction there. They were hosting a party in which they knew drugs were being used, and they were trying to put on workshops and work with men who were taking drugs to help them reduce or eliminate their drug intake. So it was a mixed message. If someone accuses Fox News of bashing the gay men's health crisis over the Morning Party, just have them call me, all right?
Last June, the Center for Disease Control commissioned a study which showed that 56% of gay men 25 and younger admitted to having unprotected sex within the previous 18 months.
People who are risky tend to be people who are using substances, and also younger people tend to be sexually experimenting, and those are people who are willing to take the greatest number of risks.
I shoot right there, and now I'm shooting right.
This is Kenny. He likes to shoot meth before sex. He's happy to share his needles with his friends. Kenny also shares his AIDS virus.
They all know what I got. And they're used to.
I can't explain it as anything but stupidity and ignorance. It's absurd. It's suicidal to, take those risks.
You practice safe sex?
Oh, no.
This San Diego park in an upscale neighborhood closes at 10 p.m. Then the hustlers come out, prowling for sex with strangers, their obsessions sweeping aside their fear of AIDS.
You may not want to watch this next sequence. It takes place in a dungeon of deviant souls where the sex isn't merely unprotected, it's unimaginable.
It's called many things, including glory hole. By any name, it's a study in dangerous promiscuity. Men pay a few bucks to rent a bunk for a quickie with a stranger. Then there's the real glory hole, literally a hole in the wall where men insert themselves to have sex without knowing what's on the other side.
I just wanted to talk to you.
In the news media finally got arrogant enough to ask people their personal business. Are you having unprotected sex? What makes you think that's any of your business?
The owner of this club didn't want Fox Files here.
Oh.
This is also a sex club, but here the owner says he demands safe sex.
We will throw them out. We will ridicule them, and they know that when they come in the door.
His promotional video shows condoms by the boxload and reminders everywhere to have protected sex.
We're going to have a super AIDS that will be immune to all of the drugs. I predict we will have, a slew of deaths that made the early 80s look like a picnic.
You're not seeing new strains of the virus, but we do know, unfortunately, that resistant strains have been transmitted.
And in that 1998 study by the Centers for Disease Control, 68% of the high-risk population surveyed were less likely to be tested for HIV, fearing disclosure.
Are you getting off on this?
Women in the underworld can be just as outrageous as men. These two are celebrating Gay Pride Day in Los Angeles. The women are strangers to each other. Like the men in the glory hole, they don't seem to need intimacy to have sex.
Say sex, just do it.
Yeah.
Shit.
In the gay underworld, some women are just as sexually indiscriminate as some men, and drugs play a role.
Bead, man. Beads. Both together mixed in.
Wow.
It assists them in deadening their thoughts. We block them with drugs, we block them with not thinking about it, we block them with dark, dingy places where there isn't even enough light to see the human that you are supposed to be interacting with.
In a corner of the gay underworld are transvestites. They're neither gay nor lesbian. They seem to belong only with each other.
White trash.
Thank you, white trash. Okay, I can live with that.
White trash is Kentucky.
Many, like Ivy here or Halisha, are runaways from small towns where neither the community nor their own parents could accept them. Even if they live at home, there's constant friction. This boy's Muslim mother can't accept his lifestyle.
I mean, it's just hormones.
It's still wrong. That's not meant for you to take. God made you a man.
Some transvestites can't get jobs, so they turn to prostitution, hoping to earn enough for a sex change and the dream of finding fulfillment.
It's going to break down the male hormones that's in her.
Those who can't afford surgery often seek out the booming black market in illegal hormone injections. Along Miami's glitzy South Beach, this exclusive condo complex harbors one of the most successful clandestine clinics.
They decide what dose to take based on what they hear in the street.
How dangerous is this?
There is blood clotting in the legs that can break off and go into the lungs. Strokes are possible. Skin tumors, liver tumors.
Those who can't even afford to visit the so-called street doctors inject the drugs themselves.
The self-administration of hormones can be potentially life-threatening. There are certain complications that will be fatal and kill someone.
Hey, hey.
In a way, that's what happened to Halisha, who turns tricks to earn money for her hormones.
He paid me not to use the condom, or for him not to use the condom, and that was quite good money. So I said, okay, for $150, I would do it. So I did it, and instead he gave me HIV.
Alicia doesn't tell all of her customers she's HIV positive.
Some I do, some I don't. It just depends on the money.
There's a very small subset of people who may engage in ongoing risks for a variety of reasons.
Undercover in the night, a small minority continues to play Russian roulette with their lives. Risky behavior that affects us all.
Arthel, I realize that's just a small fringe group we saw in your report, but isn't there anything that can be done to try to stop that behavior?
Well, John, the education is definitely there. There are monthly forums to teach people about the dangers of having unprotected sex. Unfortunately, the people we saw in the story don't want to hear the message, and quite frankly, they act as if they don't care.
That's a shame. Arthel, thank you. And we'll be right back.
You draw other people and try to convince them that your way is right.
Recruiting, training, brainwashing. Now you're one of them.
I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy.
We're unmasking cults on campus. Then,
adult content just happens to be the product that I sell.
He's on the cutting edge of hardcore sex, and he's making millions corrupting the web. We'll meet this Gen X porn king. And
6,000 chicken fajitas with sauce.
Meet the brains and humor behind this hot new show. He's the Family Guy.
You waiting for a page?
Yeah, my sweetie.
Yeah, me too.
Whoa, there she is.
That's why I like 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls. I can call Sweetie back right now or anytime because it's one low rate all the time. A guaranteed cheap way to call collect. You mind giving me a hand, bro? 1-800-CALL-ATT. Hey, I like when you page me, sweetie.
Mom, can we get a monkey?
No. You can't always give your kids what they want.
Mom, can I get my nose pierced?
No. But sometimes it's a good idea to let them have their way.
Can we have some Chef Boyardee?
Sure.
Chef Boyardee is wholesome and hearty. It has the taste kids crave. And it's real food that's real fast.
Seconds?
Which makes it a good idea anytime.
Mom, can I?
No.
Give them what they want. Say yes to Chef Boyardee.
Think this is the only way you can afford to travel? Greyhound has a better way, because right now you can go anywhere we go for $59 or less. Besides, consider the alternatives. Call 1-800-231-2222 for information.
Hi.
Hey.
You quit smoking.
Did I? He didn't quit. He uses Targon mouthwash.
Your teeth look whiter.
Look how Targon removes tobacco tar from these tiles.
Your breath smells so fresh.
If you smoke, use Targon.
What would you do if a stranger talked to you?
I wouldn't talk to them because it might be bad.
Very good. And what would you tell someone playing with matches?
I would tell them not to play with them because they might start a fire.
Wow. How come you know so much?
My mommy told me.
Oh, and what did your mommy tell you about drugs?
Your children are listening. Are you talking?
It's a parent's worst nightmare.
Will you help me find her?
Radio talk show host Art Bell guest stars on an all-new Millennium Friday. An all-new episode of The X-Files, Fox Sunday.
What happens when you take religion and twist it around to suit your needs? We found one group many call a cult spreading its word to college students. A Fox Files hidden camera investigation, cults on campus.
Together we shall save our planet, or together we shall perish in its flame.
The church is a vicious monster.
I never even dreamed that groups like this existed.
They're damaging people's minds, souls.
They're all talking about the International Churches of Christ, also known as the ICC. A benign name, which experts say helps hide the fact that this group is really a cult.
The International Church of Christ are the fastest growing Christian group in the world.
Kip McKean is the fire-breathing and reclusive leader of the International Churches of Christ, a name that makes it easy to confuse with several established churches, such as the Church of Christ. But this group has no ties to those churches, and other churches don't ask their followers this.
Did you ever do oral sex?
McKean began this so-called ministry in 1979. Only 20 years later, there are now 150,000 true believers.
McKean has created not the kingdom of God, but the kingdom of Kip.
Turned my life upside down.
27-year-old Brandon Hearn said he joined the ICC while attending the University of Arizona.
I was assassinated. I mean, I don't know what I was like before. I have no recollection of my normal personality or anything. What you see here is just a medicated version of what's left.
Brandon's recruitment is a familiar story because right now the International Churches of Christ has ministries on hundreds of campuses around the country where they're looking for new members.
I would say that the lifeblood of a group like the International Church of Christ is the college and university campus.
Religious cult expert Rick Ross says 50% of the ICC members are recruited from universities around the country, though the ICC claims it's only 15% of total membership.
When young people arrive on a campus, they're very vulnerable. If they're away from home.
The ICC's aggressive recruiting tactics have led to them being banned or investigated by over 30 universities. We wanted to see how the ICC works on a campus where it's not banned. So Fox Files sent 2 associate producers to go undercover at Georgia State University. Only a day after sitting on the main quad, they were approached.
There's just a room about the meeting. 15-minute Bible discussion.
It'll only take 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Hi. We went to the prayer study with Fox Files hidden cameras.
We look around the religious world and we're like, man, what is going on with the religious world?
Immediately afterward, we were invited to their church. Services were exuberant, with lots of singing, hugging, cheering, and dancing. It sounds great, except there's a price. The loss of privacy, personal freedom, friendships, and eventually, yes, money. Just ask Sam Dyer.
Once you get into it, it becomes more of a more demanding, more suffocating than any church I've ever known of.
It all begins with a series of 8 to 10 intense Bible studies. According to ex-members, the ICC systematically attacks the beliefs and attitudes of new recruits until they believe that the only road to salvation is through the ICC.
What is going on here is a kind of spiritual rape.
Robert Thornburg is a Methodist minister and dean of chaplains at Boston University. He was instrumental in getting the ICC kicked off BU's campus.
I'm embarrassed to have people taking the name of Christian who are deceitful and lying and manipulative.
We wanted to hear the ICC side of the story, so Fox Files traveled to Los Angeles, where the church is headquartered, to interview ICC spokesman Al Baird.
So all we're doing is trying to say, let's get back and be the church that Jesus started in the Bible.
The church moves in and takes the place of God, is essentially what happens. They move in, they start making all the rules and regulations.
Well, let's pray.
Our Bible study started with a brief prayer.
Dear Father in heaven, I love you so much.
And then quickly turned X-rated.
It's almost like, how would you feel if your dad was standing in the room while you're having sex?
ICC members pressured our Fox Files associate producers to confess every last detail of their sex lives.
Well, what do you mean fool around? I mean, you know, or when you have sex, I mean, did you ever do oral sex?
Then the Bible leader gave examples of what we should be talking about.
There was this one time that he wanted me to have anal sex, and I did it, and I hated it, or whatever.
We showed Mr. Baird our undercover tape of what the church calls the sin study. Does that bother you? Does it make you uncomfortable at all that people aren't just being asked if they had committed fornication or adultery, but to give very personal, very specific details about that?
I don't know what you mean by specific details.
A discipler would not ask if you committed oral sex, if you committed anal sex. Details.
Not in the sense that you're talking about. We're not interested in prying inappropriately into people's lives. We want them to come to grips with what's going on in their life so they can deal with God.
Our two associate producers were called every day by ICC members and were warned their parents would accuse them of being in a cult.
Instead of being totally proud of you, they may get really weirded out, or think you're a part of a cult, or think you're being controlled.
God did this so that men would seek him.
According to the ICC, the Bible says the only true Christians are disciples. Everyone who joins the church must have a discipler or mentor. It was a point that was hammered home in our Bible study classes.
Basically, you have to be a disciple to be a Christian, you say.
Calvin Kwan, who was a member of the ICC at Cal State, says he knows the true meaning of discipling.
To me, discipling is really set up so that the leadership of the church will have someone to watch over every member. Every member gets watched over. It's like having someone looking over your shoulder 24 hours a day.
My discipler used to tell me to just follow advice blindly, and God will bless it.
Everyone needs a mentor.
Is that why relatively young people in the church can be disciplers for newer members?
Everyone needs someone to help them and encourage them. It's a matter of helping someone grow.
But listen to what they told our associate producers is the meaning of a disciple.
A disciple, basically, you just obey.
And what sort of obedience did they want from our associate producer? They told her to be with God, she must break up with her boyfriend.
Go to God.
You gotta cut it off completely. It's over. Andy's a memory, a distant, long memory.
It's one of the ICC's most strongly held beliefs not to date outside the group. But even courtship among ICC members is not what most people would call normal.
If I was discipling somebody and the person who I was discipling wants to start dating this girl in the church, that they would have to get permission from me.
And what's it like when you get permission? Just ask former member Lara Cottrell, who dated the same guy for 2 years.
During that period of time, we never kissed each other. We held hands. That was a big thing. And he was like, oh, he'd fall into sin if he were to kiss me.
The big step was we were going to hold hands. I've been able to be celibate for 7 years.
But why would intelligent college students do everything their discipler says? Because the Bible studies have taught them that if they don't, they're damned to hell.
Once I bought into it, I thought, well, either I follow them or I'm going to hell.
What about going to hell? Is that a phrase?
I can't remember the last time that I told someone you're going to hell.
My family, my friends, everybody going to hell. Hurting big time. I mean, they made it graphic, too. They told me, you know, I mean, hell, fire, pain.
According to ex-members, once the ICC has their disciples believing, they try to separate them from their families.
I've had to make decisions to put my relationship with God above my relationship with my mom.
John and Stony Esp know all about losing a daughter to the ICC.
She was just one of the joys of my life.
But joy turned to sadness after their daughter joined the ICC her freshman year at Montana State University.
I believe that this church has taken my daughter.
You can't believe the agony that we've gone through trying to figure out what our responsibility as a parent is. The grief that I have is over somehow not preparing my children for this possibility in their lives.
How often do you see that kind of problem where ultimately the church can divide parents and children?
Usually we see exactly the opposite. We work the very hardest that we can to keep people united.
John and Stony tried to keep their family united by bringing in a cult expert to try to convince Amy to leave the ICC.
She just wouldn't listen to us. Didn't want to listen, was afraid. Fear came over her face. She was afraid to listen. That was a pretty low point. Your daughter's running down the street, leaves her shoes behind. Mother's sitting here begging her to stay.
And even though it's been a few months since that's happened, I mean, it's something I'll never forget. I mean, I know she's old enough to leave home and make up her own mind, but I don't feel like she's making up her own mind.
When we come back, recruiting, how the ICC takes your mind and your money.
I've spent every dime I have for the church. I have no furniture to my own name.
Then, you never know what you'll find on the web. Look out, he's the Gen X porn king. Plus, there's a new family to hit Fox.
Oh, I didn't have gas for the first time until I was 30.
And this kid's no Bart Simpson.
Victory is mine!
Catch a glimpse of The Family Guy.
Air Crisps. Big taste, big crunch, and nothing else. Air Crisps. Junk food without all the junk.
1010-220 gives you the freedom to call anywhere in the U.S. and Canada for only 99 cents for all calls up to 20 minutes. Now 1010-220 offers savings around the world. Call most of Europe and it's just $1.99 for all calls up to 10 minutes and only 19 cents a minute after that. All day, every day. Call Mexico and it's only $2.99 for up to 10 minutes and just 34 cents a minute after that. 1010-220. Great savings all over the world.
Jingle bells, Santa smells, Christmas really stunk. I got nothing that I like, my gifts were all just junk. Boxes full of clothes, CDs no one knows. When I wanted something for my Nintendo 64. Zelda's great, Rogue Squadron's cool, Blitz would be just fine. WCW vs. NWO, revenge should be mine.
Make up for a lame Christmas. Get the hits you missed on N64.
Mom and Dad, I'm so sad.
The tiger on the nightfall!
Critics are calling The Thin Red Line one of the year's best pictures, including Rolling Stone, Premiere, USA Today, and Time Magazine. The Thin Red Line, rated R, now playing only in theaters.
In our house, Arm & Hammer is our standard of protection.
Right. The other deodorant antiperspirants have the same basic ingredient.
But Arm & Hammer has the added power of baking soda to absorb and eliminate odors.
Not cover them up.
Arm yourself with the standard of protection.
I was getting married. I didn't want to be a fat bride. I lost 39 pounds on the Slim Fast plan. I've kept it off for 3 years, and I still fit into my wedding dress. I feel on top of the world. I take care of myself. I eat right, and I have Slim Fast for lunch every day. It's delicious. It helps keep me looking like this.
23 vitamins and minerals, protein, calcium, fiber, all the balanced nutrition like a healthy meal.
I feel wonderful.
Slim Fast every day. Balanced nutrition for a healthy life.
I did it. You can do it.
Think it's impossible to find affordable housing in the Bay Area? A look at the housing crisis tonight at 10.
As our hidden camera investigation into the International Churches of Christ continues, we found a group that would say most anything to get you to join and takes practically everything once you're in. Is the ICC a church or a cult? Former members say just look at their priorities.
I was given an ultimatum at one point, Sam, drop out of school. That's what you need to do.
I've never heard of anyone else give the advice you need to drop out of school. Quite the opposite. People are often encouraged to go to school.
ICC officials arranged for Fox Files to talk to some of their college members. Why do you think so many people are calling this church a cult?
I don't know really how to answer that question because to me it's not. For me, the church is the greatest thing I've come across.
I really just had a desire to live a life that would be pleasing to God.
I was on an academic scholarship to U of A, a pre-med student, and I was told by a leader that I had to become a communications major because it took less time.
Finals is no different of the time. There's no reason for us to stop sharing our thing.
Ex-members say the ICC dominated their lives, with much of their time taken up with recruiting.
They tell you that if you're not fruitful, which means bringing somebody into the church, if you're not fruitful with new membership, then there's something wrong with your spiritual walk with God.
You invite people, anybody, everybody that you can.
That has got to be basically our purpose in life.
But I mean, even people who are not even members yet are out recruiting and bringing in.
To the extent that's true, they do it because it's spontaneous.
Spontaneous isn't exactly the way it happened with our two associate producers.
I could even sharing your faith with people. No.
So, like, have you been inviting people to church and stuff?
That's your purpose, is to share your faith.
Think about the pressure of that. If I can't get somebody to come with me to this Bible study, then my eternal salvation is at stake.
It seems the ICC also bases salvation on the cash register ringing. Ex-disciples say they were pressured into giving at least 10% of what they made.
We keep track down to every single dollar, every single penny of every single member. The leadership knows exactly who's supposed to give what.
What about for other people who are encouraged to sell things to give more to the church?
There aren't many people that do that, but there are people that choose to do that, and it's personal choice.
I also sold every piece of furniture I had and every appliance and TV and whatever, and gave that to the church.
Twice during our stay, we witnessed students handing over checks and money, with one of the leaders counting it down to the very penny. And listen to this.
Because of the holiday season, you need to bring contribution for those next 3 weeks.
And what about their leader, Kip McKean? We don't know what he's giving, but he sure is getting a heck of a lot, including this nearly $500,000 home in L.A., which the ICC owns and provides him. For many, the pressures of recruiting, giving your money, shunning your family, and giving all your time to the ICC become too much. Many members finally leave.
When I walked away, the leader that I talked to told me that I was making an eternal decision. And I said, I know that. If it's this hard to go to heaven, then I'll go to hell.
Brandon says he's still recovering from his time with the ICC. He says he's suffering from a deep depression that he may never fully get over.
I may not look like damaged goods, but if you crack me open, it's pretty ugly. And trust me, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish what I've been through on Kip McKean.
Or together we shall perish in its flames.
Kip McKean says it's his goal to have a following in every country in the world by the year 2000. He's well on his way.
He's the Larry Flint of the laptop.
I've been called the Porn King.
His work could be in your house right now. And who's the hero? Who's in the doghouse? Find out on this week's Heroes and Zeros. But first, this young man prides himself in being the family man, the brains behind Fox's hot new sitcom.
Oh, I'm going for the high score.
Want to color your gray beard or mustache and get a natural look? It's easy with Just for Men Gel.
You look so natural, no one can tell with Just for Men Gel. No one can tell with Just for Men Gel.
It's not regular hair coloring. It's specially made to penetrate that coarse, hard-to-color gray. Simply brush in and in 5 minutes, rinse. Now gray is gone, matched up to the rest of your hair.
You look so natural, no one can tell with Just for Men Gel.
Eat the Whopper. That's 40 grams of fat. Go ahead, get the everyday Whopper value meal. 61 grams of fat. Come on, one more chin. Whopper down the hatch. Incoming. Don't listen to him. He does not care about you. There. Okay. Burger! Naughty.
Listen to your smarter half. Go to Subway, where you can get one of 7 subs with 6 grams of fat or less.
Give me that. Come to daddy.
Subway, the way a sandwich should be.
When winter weather hits, count on KTVU News. Meteorologist Bill Martin,
We have seen the coldest weather of the season.
Rhonda Bentley, and the Bay Area's most seasoned team of reporters. The Bay Area's most complete weather coverage on Fox 2.
Sunday is my day to relax and read the paper.
I love waking up on Sundays knowing the paper's waiting for me.
It's perfect for me just having Sunday because I don't have time to read during the week. I don't feel guilty about it. I just read it all on Sunday.
Sometimes the pink section is the only section I read, and it's still worth having it delivered.
Sunday mornings in the city are so cold. I don't want to go out to get the paper.
I can't imagine not having the paper delivered on Sunday.
Sunday really is sacred to me. It's the time when my husband and I really can talk and read and share articles in the paper. We love to do that.
I subscribe on Sunday only, and that's perfect for me.
What could be better than home delivery of the Sunday Examiner and Chronicle? How about 5 free Sundays to get you started? That's about $1.30 a week for Sunday delivery. Call now, and you'll also receive our exclusive Bay Area restaurant guide with our editors' picks of the best dining and values around town. And with money-saving coupons, you'll save even more. Don't miss this special offer of home delivery of the Sunday Examiner and Chronicle and your free restaurant guide. Call now.
I'm in with the in-crowd. I go where the in-crowd goes.
It's the Blockbuster Trip a Day giveaway. Blockbuster is giving away trips to glamorous events like film festivals, award shows, MGM movie premieres, and there are 50 million other prizes because every game piece is an instant winner every time. So play the Trip a Day giveaway every day and get caught up in the bright lights of stardom.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Gene Johnson and the gang want to thank you for making Redwood City Dodge one of the fastest-growing dealerships in Northern California. We're going to offer you a 20-day, 1,000-mile vehicle exchange privilege, and we want to offer you these outstanding values. A 99 Dodge Ram Quad Cab loaded with tow package for just $19,995, or a 99 Dodge Caravan for just $14,995. Redwood City Dodge will be #1, and our prices will prove it. Guaranteed. Redwood City Dodge, home of the Dodge Doggy.
It's all part of our Too Funny lineup. Tomorrow at 7:30 on Fox 2.
Now, Seth MacFarlane. He's the 25-year-old wonder boy behind a much-anticipated new cartoon for Fox. And Fox Files got an inside look at the guy behind The Family Guy.
This Super Bowl Sunday, we'll see who's got the goods to be the best. Touchdown! And Fox is hoping to score a touchdown of its own with this guy.
Damn crap, damn it to hell, son of a...
His name is MacFarlane, Seth MacFarlane, and he joins Team Fox as the creative force behind the cutting-edge animated sitcom Family Guy.
That's what we're hoping is it'll be the kind of show where you can tune in and you won't know what to expect.
Family Guy is about the life of the Griffin clan.
They're coming from such radically different directions, each one of them.
Promise me, Peter.
It's headed up by a politically incorrect pop.
A drop of alcohol is going to touch these lips tonight. Hey, who wants to play Drink the Beer? Right here.
Sort of an animated Archie Bunker.
All right, what do I win? Another beer!
Peter's the father. He's basically the quintessential loudmouth New Englander.
Chris, that's it. I'll go on welfare.
Who talks before he thinks.
You have any disabilities on your record? Oh, I didn't have gas for the first time until I was 30. What the hell was that?
There's a sensitive and supportive wife.
Peter, we need to talk about this welfare thing.
2 teenagers and a dog, if you can call him that.
6,000 chicken fajitas with sauce.
And a sausage McMuffin, please.
But the show's secret weapon is a diabolical baby named Stewie.
Hello, Mother.
He sort of fancies himself much better, superior to those around him.
Now, I offer you one last chance for deliverance.
He's actually capable of backing up his arguments with real weapons.
Return my mind control device, or be destroyed.
At only 25, Seth is the image of the 90s Hollywood hotshot.
That do it for you?
Young and rich, with a deal worth $2.5 million.
It hasn't really sunk in at all. Gladly, you know, do the same job for much less.
Seth is drawn since he was 2 years old, so it's no surprise that after he graduated from the Rhode Island School of Design, he went to work for Hanna-Barbera. But it was an 8-minute short of Family Guy that prompted Fox to pair him up with King of the Hill producer David Zuckerman. Seth's producing style is hands-on. He writes show scripts and voices 3 of the main characters.
Lois, it's time you started living like the piece of Schmidt you are.
So where does a 25-year-old guy who writes about killer babies get his sense of humor?
Your life, however, is more like a box of active grenades.
During a break in production, Fox Files took a trip back home to find out if Seth's humor is really all in the family.
Was he always a very funny kid?
Yeah, he was. I'm a very funny mother.
When you look at that family and you see the different characters, do you know anyone like that?
I thought it was kind of funny at the fact that the little boy constantly wants to kill his mother.
Did he get in any trouble for his drawing?
Yeah.
What kind of stuff?
He was the cartoonist for the school paper, and the character in his cartoon is taking communion. The comment underneath said, "Could I have fries with that, please?"
And Seth can still remember how a local priest reacted to that cartoon.
Dear Seth, shame on you for insulting the Almighty God and those who love him. Signed, Father Flynn.
Hey, man, your clock won't flush.
We asked him if shocking people is his game plan with the Family Guy.
If it's funny, we'll put it in, but we're never out to just piss somebody off.
All of a sudden, you get a big contract thrown at you. Do you feel like now, I got some cash in the bank? Come on, give it
about
up.
a Mercedes, about a Mercedes. That's
It's good you're jumping right into it.
But that's it.
Yeah.
Just for safety reasons.
And we couldn't help but ask Mrs. MacFarlane what she and Seth's father, Ron, thought about their son's new bank account.
Ron and I started planning our retirement.
Have you discussed with Seth the responsibility that a child has to do the right thing by the parents?
Oh, well,
i.e., boat, fancy, expensive vacations.
Yeah, not yet, but after you leave, we're going to talk about that.
Before we left, I got Seth to do my portrait.
Go heavy on the hair. Don't go light on the hair.
And Fox Files got a taste of what the MacFarlanes call humor with a pair of old panties. We helped make Perry the butt of a long-standing family joke.
Now, I hope those aren't yours.
We had a guest who left these at our house.
A large guest.
And then the next day, I found them wrapped around a package of boneless chicken in our freezer.
Back in L.A., the Family Guy is getting its finishing touches. So we asked Seth, in a battle between Bart and Stewie, who would win?
Stewie actually has an arsenal. I don't think Bart would have a chance.
Ah, damn you all!
Family Guy premieres next Sunday after the Super Bowl, right here on Fox. Now, a story about another 25-year-old named Seth. With that, here's contributing correspondent Kit Hoover. Kit?
Thanks, John. If Hugh Hefner had a hard drive, if Larry Flint had a laptop, they still wouldn't be as controversial as Seth Warshavsky, the Gen X porn king. He's 25-year-old Seth Warshavsky, and Fox Files traveled to Las Vegas, where he was attending a very unusual event, the annual Adult Expo. Yes, the $10 billion a year sex industry may be unique in many ways, but they have an annual convention just like everybody else. And why do you think so many people are interested in porn?
Sex is something that's always on everybody's mind, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm in a business where there's a huge demand for what we provide.
In just 3 years, Warshavsky's company, Internet Entertainment Group, IEG, may now be the most profitable purveyors of adult entertainment on the World Wide Web. His ability to put sex into any household has thrust Warshavsky into the media spotlight, with articles in mainstream newspapers and magazines all over the country.
Have you seen the Blair Cam?
But money and fame come with a price.
We have lawsuits going all the time. The company's in a really controversial position.
What would you say to the critics out there who say that this is 100% a negative connotation for women?
It's on people's mind, and if a woman chooses to make money by performing, nude or doing it, she has a right to do that. I don't think it's degrading. He provided it all when we got the tape.
Attorney Derek Newman represents the Seattle-based company.
When material comes across, we look at it and we analyze it, and we think, do we have the legal right to put this out?
Seth's latest legal headache has him tangling with a higher power, the Archdiocese of St. Louis. Pope John Paul II is expected to visit St. Louis in February. A website designed by IEG depicts the pontiff with some not-so-pure-looking ladies.
It's a shame that a company is going to use this as an opportunity to confuse people and demean the visit.
Did you have any problem putting the Pope on your website?
No, not really, not at all.
But this is the Pope we're talking about.
It's a story of something that's currently going on. You know, the church has very strong positions on sexuality, so we kind of wanted to talk about some of those and talk about some of the scandals that have gone on in the church related to sexuality. I see why some people take a very strong position, or their whole life as a church may be somewhat upset, but I don't think they should be.
He may be a pornographer, but Warshavsky says he's certainly not immoral. Last February, he appeared before Congress in an effort to make the internet safer for kids to cruise.
We actually proposed some legislation that we felt would maximize the restriction to minors while allowing adults to have, maximum free speech and see and read and look at what they want.
And what his customers seem to want may shock you. Like if I were to log on, can you kind of walk me through the steps of what happens?
If you were to log on, you wanted to have a live session, you'd go to our arcade where you can choose between the bedroom, the health club, the dungeon, the shower, or the couples room, and you get dropped into this room where you're actually seeing a live dancer.
I'd have to say the shower is probably my favorite.
Felicia is one of IEG's most popular girls. Is there anything you won't do?
No, I won't work with men. I'll work with women. I've been in the business for about 5 years now, and I only work with women.
If you think it's just men who are logging for a good time, you may be wrong, according to porn star Brittany Andrews.
Women want to see, what's going on, the hardcore action. But women want a nice storyline. Women want better lighting. Women want art direction.
And that hardcore action leads to the bottom line.
If you take it as a business, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, so there's a lot of money to be made.
And to make the big bucks, IEG has to turn out a constant stream of hardcore material. And that happens in this unassuming warehouse in Seattle, where someone is having sex on camera and online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
It's pretty wild.
Romantic? No, but it is incredibly lucrative. Selling sex has made Seth Warshavsky a millionaire. His most famous endeavor was the acquisition of a now infamous home video.
We actually entered into an agreement with Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee that allowed us to basically have an exclusive quasi-license to distribute the video worldwide.
Last summer, Tommy Lee told Fox Files a different story.
It got stolen, and some psycho decided to mass produce it and put it all over the world. I'm horrified. It's not cool.
You're talking about two people that have basically, exploited their sexuality to get to where they are.
But that was just the beginning. IEG most recently exposed radio psychologist Dr. Laura Schlesinger.
If they're turning to a woman for advice, they're telling them that they shouldn't do certain things within their life. They should be able to see what she's done in her life. Instead of making love.
And they're in a litigation battle with ex-Poison frontman Bret Michaels and his ex-girlfriend, yes, Pamela Lee, to show an X-rated home video. Morally, do you have any remorse for sort of exploiting celebrity or non-celebrity their lives out there?
No. No. I mean, I don't feel like we've done anything negative. We've provided some really hot stories and some really hot content that there's been a huge demand for.
Like him or hate him, when it comes to making money, Seth Warshavsky is a success.
Adult content just happens to be the product that I sell. If I could make the same, if there was the same demand for, widgets or toast ovens, I'd be selling widgets or toast ovens.
I'm not going to tell you what I think about that. But I will say this, Heroes and Zeros is up next, and I think Seth falls into one of those categories.
Crunch this irresistible can only come from one place. Kellogg's Honey Crunch Corn Flakes. Sweet honey and nuts baked on the classic Kellogg's Corn Flakes. A crunch so tasty, so delicious. It gets to everybody. Kellogg's Honey Crunch Corn Flakes. One honey of a crunch.
What about calling long distance?
Well, let's look it up on the pricing guide. Are you going to be calling daytime, nighttime, peak time, all time, airtime, big time, East Coast, West Coast? What? Don't worry. You're going to take one of these.
With Sprint PCS, you get the simplicity of the new free and clear plan, including free long distance, and the clarity of the nation's only 100% digital, 100% PCS network built from the ground up. I'll take it.
Got anything lighter? Aye.
Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular.
Good evening, I'm Dennis Richmond in the KTVU newsroom. An explosion rocks a quiet Pacifica neighborhood early this morning, leaving one man dead. Police say they now know what caused that explosion. The story at 10.
Look for a dentist in the phone book, and you might get halfway through the countless pages of dentists by lunch. Or call 1-800-DENTIST, and you could see a dentist at lunch. The choice is yours. Flipping through page after page, picking a random name you know nothing about from the phone book, or calling 1-800-DENTIST, having all your questions answered, and being individually matched to a pre-screened dentist in your area. I know who I'd call. 1-800-DENTIST. We wrote the book on how to find a dentist.
Maybe it's time you found some fun that's more your size. Rent the Ford Ranger pickup from Budget. It has a huge security trunk and a 4-door extended cab, so you'll be able to carry on like a real grown-up. You can ride the Ranger for just $19.99 a day. That's a lot less than an ordinary rental car. Budget. Get out of the ordinary.
Uh-oh, we got trouble. Please, not me. That's got to hurt.
Tracy!
We gotta do something.
She's back!
Let's go! Run, monkey! Run! I'm not going to make it. She's gonna eat monkey. Not without milk.
Mom!
Got milk.
Who is the monkey now?
They're not your typical family.
You mind cleaning out the shower next time you shave your legs? It's like a carpet in there.
It's not your typical comedy.
Daddy, you must think I'm the worst daughter ever.
Oh, no, you're not, honey. What about that fat girl from the Judge?
Introducing Family Guy.
Excellent. The mind control device is nearing completion.
Dewey, I said no toys at the table.
Damn you, vile woman! You've impeded my work since the day I escaped from your wretched womb.
Catch a sneak preview of Family Guy right after the Super Bowl on Fox.
Next week on Fox Files, assault, rape, even murder.
He stuck it in my neck and then ran it all the way up under my neck.
How do houses for sale become houses of horror? Real estate terror. Punk, funk, disco, reggae. Blondie was the greatest pop band of the new wave era. In a network exclusive, we meet the band and find out why Blondie is back.
Blondie! I love Blondie!
Another Fox Files exclusive. Contract hit caught on tape.
I shot him 3 times in the chest and once in the head.
Fox Files takes you inside the mind of a hitman. Gary Bradshaw looks back at the all-time heroes and zeros of the Super Bowl. That's next week on Fox Files.
Now it's the moment you've all been waiting for. It's the heroes and zeros of the week. Despite the fact that his own party is upset with him, the opposition can't wait to dump him, and even his own wife is not thrilled with him, Buddy, his dog, remains loyal and doesn't give a lick what others may think. For that, we're calling the first pet a hero. First to Mick, get off of your cloud and stop claiming you were never married to a woman who you lived with for many years and with whom you've had 4 children. For you, we have no sympathy because you can't always get what you want. So in Fox Files' eyes, you're a zero.
Mike, Francois Bolter, 6-1 underdog. Are there any concerns on your part?
I don't know anything about that. I don't know nothing about numbers. I just know what I can do. How about kill this mother? Well, it. It's a fight. Good.
You got it.
Hey, Mike, you're a zero. What do you say to that?
Go off.
Be a hero. Stick around. We'll be back.
Coming up next on the 10 o'clock news, a live report with the latest information on a fatal bomb blast that ripped through a van on a quiet Bay Area street.
Oakland firefighters are battling a 4-alarm fire at this hour. These are late pictures just back from the scene.
A snowboarder is rescued after spending a freezing night lost in the Tahoe wilderness.
And the White House defense completes its opening arguments in the impeachment trial. Now it's the senators' turn to get into the act themselves.
The 10 o'clock news is next.
Out here and practically everywhere else, people are using 1010-9000 because it's the easy way to find a phone number.
I'll tell you why I use it, because now I don't have to remember area codes. There's too darn many and they keep on changing.
Well, that's one good reason. Any others?
Yep, I like the 1010-9000 operators. Sure beats talking to a machine.
No area codes to remember and nice people to help you. Life is definitely getting better.
You got that right.
For once. 1010-9000. Directory assistance for everyone in America.
I have 3 kids. I don't have a minute to eat right. I gained weight.
Introducing a new delicious way to lose weight from SlimFast. New Meal on the Go bars.
It's perfect for my life. They're fantastic. The peanut butter's incredible. I lost 14 pounds on the SlimFast plan. Just grab a bar. It's lunch.
22 vitamins and minerals, high in calcium. A well-balanced meal in 4 fantastic flavors.
I feel great. I really feel like I have control.
New SlimFast Meal on the Go bars. Every day, balanced nutrition for a healthy life.
The bars are a great idea.
Many clothes were designed to go in the Gentle Cycle. Many regular detergents were not. Gentle Cycle Woolite contains no bleach or enzymes. And there's no shrinking, stretching, or fading. Trust your clothes to Woolite. Gentle by design.
Ouch.
You stop brushing with Sensodyne every day. Your dentist said Sensodyne every day helps take pain away.
Yeah, well, sometimes I feel like I married a dentist.
Sensodyne every day. Now for whiter teeth, use new Sensodyne Extra Whitening every day.
From the crossroads of America, New York's Grand Central Station, I'm Catherine Cryer.
And I'm John Scott. We'll see you again next Thursday for more of the stories and the people of Fox Files.
If you would like a videotape or transcript of this program, please call Federal Document Clearinghouse at 1-888-44-FOX-88 or order through our website at foxfiles.foxnews.com.
Is 50 years in hell enough time?
I haven't killed anybody.
For a Nazi war criminal to be forgiven? Brimstone, Fox, Fearsome Friday.
Friday. What secret is worth sacrificing your own child?
Will you help me find her?
My father would pay anything, I know it.
He said no.
What do they want?
Stop asking me questions you know I can't answer.
An all-new millennium.
I don't think we have much time.
After Brimstone, Fox, Fearsome Friday.
Tomorrow on Mornings on 2.
You've seen Gidget, the Taco Bell dog. Now meet the man behind the booth. Yo quiero, Mornings on 2.
Join the Bay Area's #1 morning team. In-depth interviews and the news you need. Mornings on 2, tomorrow at 7.
Investigators say they know what caused the explosion that tore apart this van and killed a person. Now they want to know why. We'll have a live report.
San Francisco police say he was one of the best, an officer killed not during but following a shootout.
Now that both sides have completed their opening arguments, what happens next in the impeachment trial of President Clinton?
And why is the state of California hatching thousands of tiny Chinook salmon, only to sacrifice them before they're released in the wild? Those stories, all the news on this Thursday night, January 21st, 1999.
And now, the award-winning 10 o'clock news on Channel 2, the #1 primetime newscast in the country.
Good evening, I'm Leslie Griffith.
And I'm Dennis Richmond. The FBI tonight has joined the investigation into a deadly bomb blast that shattered a quiet Pacifica neighborhood early this morning. The explosion ripped apart a van and killed one person. Thuy Vu is in Pacifica with late details in this live report. Thuy.
Dennis, investigators spent the night continuing to search for evidence at the scene of the explosion. They found more body parts under the white van that blew up on the 300 block of Monterey Road. Agents from the FBI and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms have been out at the scene since early this morning. The explosion happened at about 3:20 a.m. One person was killed. Investigators have not determined yet if the person was a man or woman. Neighbors say the explosion was a rude awakening.
I knew that it wasn't a car backfiring. It was maybe about 10 times as loud as a car backfire. And it was a very all-encompassing boom.
The cargo door, whatever, the sliding door, whatever that was, but that was gone. I mean, it was in the front yard. And we started looking around a little bit to see if there's anybody there. That's a piece of the leg right there on the sidewalk.
11 families were evacuated from the area. More than a dozen agents scoured the scene for evidence. The street was searched bit by bit. At one point, agents even climbed to the top of a roof. Investigators say they are not sure whether the person who was killed was inside the van or standing next to it.
It's my understanding that it was inside the van. Preliminary investigation revealed it was inside the van.
Investigators say it may take some time before they can determine the identity of the body.
The body sustained significant damage to dismember it.
I got home from work and some lady that lives right next door to where it happened, they had her stop right here in my driveway, and they go to start picking things off the hood of her car, and I guess it was fragments of the explosion, and it was just disgusting.
Authorities know who the white van is registered to, but they are not revealing whether they have found that person. They do say, however, that the van is apparently not connected to the house it was parked in front of. The mystery has many residents asking themselves, what is going on?
I'm sure everybody's had that thought, wondering who was the target.
Late tonight, the evacuated families were allowed to return. The coroner will conduct an autopsy tomorrow. Investigators hope to know then the identity of the person who was killed. Now, about 15 minutes ago, agents cleared the crime scene here and took down the police tape. The people who live on the street say they will try to get a good night's sleep, though that may be hard to do, given what has happened. Dennis, Leslie.
Thuy Vu, thank you.
Oakland firefighters are battling a 4-alarm fire at this hour. The fire is inside the Bluebird Body Shop at Fruitvale and East 12th Street in Oakland. Smoke is pouring out of the now broken windows of the 2-story structure, with most of the actual flames coming from the center of the facility. The fire was first reported around 8:30 tonight. As soon as fire crews got to the scene, they called for more assistance. The 4-alarm fire appears to be under control at this hour, but fire officials say that crews will stay on the scene all night long in case it flares up again. There are no damage estimates at this hour, but the building appears to be completely gutted. A new poll out tonight says the lack of affordable housing is now the #1 problem facing people in San Francisco. Realtors say that doesn't surprise them. Rent